Hi, my name's Phil. I like talking about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the double scandal at the Manston Immigration Centre in Kent, as it transpires that the Home Secretary, the one who shouldn't be Home Secretary, deliberately broke the law, surprise, surprise, in maliciously creating Dickensian conditions of squalor for people we should be protecting, and then a terrorist carried out an attack on the centre. Not that you'll read about it being a terrorist attack, because it turns out the offender was white, so not a terrorist attack. But first, if you'd like to be notified of daily news and politics, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell notification icon. So where to start here? Let's go with the post-Brexit figures on the channel crossings of asylum seekers that so enraged the racists, first of all. In 2019, this was the year before we left the EU, there were 1,843 migrant crossings. Oh, and they were upset about that. The Brexiteers were upset about that. Okay. In 2022, this year, so far, we've still got 2 months to go, remember, so far, 39,430. Now, let's be clear from the start here. If people voted to leave the EU because they were told it would stop all those migrations, those channel crossings, they were lied to. It's exploded. It has exploded due to a combination of two things. First, as an EU member, we used to have control of immigration. I know that's not what they said, but we did. When it comes to asylum seekers, we were part of a system where successful applicants would be shared out across all EU member states according to the Dublin Agreement. Leaving the Dublin Agreement means that we're on our own. It's not in the interests of any other country to interfere. People go, oh, why don't France do this? Why don't France do that? Why should they? Nothing to do with them. We wanted to do our things our way. That's what Brexit was about, telling the French to stick their nose out of our business. Go away. Go and concern yourself with your own business. All right, then. So now we have over 20 times the number of migrant crossings compared to before we left the EU. So far, 2 months still to go. Second, even outside the Dublin Agreement, we could still stop these channel crossings, if we wanted to. And it would be cheaper than the moronic plans our government keep pretending to put into action. The racists claim they've got no issue with genuine refugees. Okay then, so all we need to do is build a processing facility in France. The French authorities are fine with this, they have said so. Anyone seeking asylum in the UK can go there. British officials will process their claim. If anyone crosses the channel and tries to claim asylum, we'll go, no, our asylum processing centre is over there. We'll take you back and we'll deposit you there. No problem. If those British officials agree that their claim is valid, then they can be brought across much more safely. Nobody has a problem, they claim. Obviously, we'll still be taking more refugees than if we'd remained part of the Dublin Agreement, because remember, the Dublin Agreement shares them out. But, that's Brexit for you. People voting leave voted to take more refugees. Oh, they didn't know that? Of course they knew that. They keep telling us they know what they voted for. So why don't the government just build that processing centre in France? Because they don't want to actually deal with problems. It is the tactic of a far-right government around the world and throughout history to invent problems and national threats from which only they will save us. This is no different. After over 12 years in power, the Tories have got no record to defend. They've trashed the economy, they've taken away our rights, they've inflicted a very painful cost of living crisis on us, they've killed hundreds of thousands unnecessarily with a combination of austerity and piss-poor COVID action. This is not something they want voters talking about, so they invent threats to the nation and inflate it all. All the things that Leave voters got angry about before we left the EU are now way worse. And they're still angry. I mean, they should be angry. But they should be angry at the people who lied to them. Instead, they're angry at the people who told them it was all lies. They might also be angry at the boneheads who ran our so-called Remain campaign. I know I am. They should have educated people about the benefits of Brexit. They could have told the racists about the Dublin Agreement and what it would mean if we left it. And to counter another bit of nonsense, people keep insisting, oh, why don't they just take these safe routes to the UK? These channel hoppers are illegal immigrants, because otherwise they'd just take the safe route, wouldn't they? The official route. There are no official routes. There are no safe routes. The government rules on claiming asylum specifically states that you have to claim asylum in the UK. You can't do it anywhere else. So you've got to get here first. You can't even do it in UK embassies. The rules are quite clear. They're available on the website. You can look them up. I'll put a link below. But they're all there. You know, I had someone trying to say yesterday, oh, you could just get a flight here. No, they can't. If you're fleeing persecution, the last thing you're going to do is go to a heavily policed area like the airport. Also, are you going to get travel documents when the state is persecuting you? Behave yourself. There is no safe way for a refugee to get to the UK because the government provides no safe route, and it's deliberate. So now the situation's really blown up, literally. You know, we're already getting the news that Marston Centre in Kent, which is designed to house 1,000 asylum claimants, had like 2,600 refugees, and there was serious health problems there. But just within a few days over the weekend, basically, it's gone up to 4,000 because of the deliberate action of a clearly unsuitable Home Secretary. The government tried to claim, oh yeah, but we weren't able to find accommodation elsewhere. We tried, but we weren't able to. But this is a lie. And it's a lie that even the local Tory MPs have had to call out as a lie. In fact, according to reports, Braverman was specifically told that her actions in not seeking alternative accommodation were unlawful. And she carried on anyway. She insisted anyway. She's not only a threat to national security, she's a threat to some of the most vulnerable people in the world that we are supposed to be looking after. She is a monster, has no business representing a modern free society. Then the story got even bigger as someone yesterday threw petrol bombs at the compound before killing themselves. No, I don't know enough about what they were motivated by, but it inevitably gets you in mind of the hateful rhetoric that Braverman and others have been using, none of which was countered by our complicit mainstream media. The Brexiteers deliberately made enemies of these poor people because it suited their political aims and it was safe. Well, they're not going to vote anyway, so it's safe. That's what you do when you're when you're an extremist in politics. You demonise people that are too small a group to cause you a problem at the ballot box. But words have consequences, and it highlights another failure of our media. So you hear a story that someone's bombed a place, then killed themselves. Oh, dirty terrorists. You think, will we never be free of their ideological nonsense? Then it turns out they were white. Oh, I thought they were a terrorist. They were. Why aren't they reporting it in those terms? Why isn't the incident being reported as a terrorist attack? So here's the situation. For those whining about the migrant crossings, did you vote to leave the EU? Then you voted for it. Are you upset that we sometimes need to book hotels to house these asylum claimants? Then demand that the government builds a facility in France. Then we won't have to. Are you upset that we might be housing people who aren't genuine refugees? I mean, there's always a risk of that if you don't control the situation. But if you're upset about that, demand the government builds the facility in France. Seriously, every single one of the problems that these raging against the channel crossings have disappear overnight with that processing centre in France. It's all you need. Are you one of those racists who tries to pretend you care about UK citizens by asking why we should put up refugees in hotels when our own people are homeless? Then demand that the government house those too. We are one of the richest countries on the planet. There is zero need for any homelessness. We have a government with a deliberate policy of not building new homes, not housing people who need it, because it's not what their core voters, who mostly own their own homes, already want. You know, stop making excuses, stop blaming other people, start demanding better of your own government. And if the government won't do better, demand one that will take responsibility. And although this situation has gotten out of control this weekend, it won't change very much. It won't take long for the government to put on a show of acting and then carry on as before. You actually wonder how they'll react when the next Labour government magically makes the scale of these channel crossings virtually disappear through the cunning use of a, wait for it, processing centre in France at a fraction of the cost of their Rwanda scheme, which doesn't even reduce immigration. Oh yeah, we'll send them to Rwanda. That's not what the plan does. That's not what the plan does. The plan is to send a small token number of asylum seekers to Rwanda and then pick up some asylum seekers from Rwanda and bring them back. That's what it is. It is an incredibly expensive way of just ramping up this rhetoric, ramping up this problem, amplifying a problem that doesn't need to exist. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. Hope you found the video interesting. If you did, please click the like button. And if you'd like to support the channel further, the join button for memberships. And until next time, I'll see you later.